you've ever been told, hey, you're doing a great job, you just need to be more confident, this video is for you. I've gotten this feedback my whole life in school and at work, and I chased confidence for years, and it never felt comfortable or authentic. It just never stuck. What I finally realized is that for deep feelers, faking it till you make it, it's just not gonna work. It takes too much of our energy because it's just too fake. Instead, we need to focus on building self trust because confidence alone is based too much on outcomes, which we really have no control over. In this video, I'm going to walk you through 3 parts to help you understand how to feel more confident today. Part 1 will be how context restores self worth. Part 2 will be how values rebuild self trust. And part 3 is what's at stake if you keep waiting to feel confident enough to live your life fully. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to start rebuilding your self-worth, self-trust to create a lasting foundation for authentic confidence. Part 1, how context can restore self-worth. As a deep feeler and HSP, I always thought my big feelings and deep emotional reactions about things were a little much, that I'm dramatic and needy. Like, what is wrong with me? Why can I not just be chill? But what I've learned by digging in more about highly sensitive people, deep feelers, and neurodivergence is that certain people have nervous systems that are just wired differently. They're made to process things more deeply, to be more sensitive and affected by our environments and all the sensory inputs we're getting, like light, sound, smell, whatever it is. To put it simply, it's that we are more affected by more things around us than most people. So nothing's wrong with you. You're just highly sensitive. You're just a deep feeler, or you have a neurodivergence that makes you more sensitive to a sensory input. But without that context, we start really bashing ourselves and thinking, what's wrong with us? And that erodes our self-worth. What we actually need is intentional self-care to help rebuild that self-worth. And you do that once you have the context that there's nothing wrong with you. So, keeping that in mind, whenever you start to feel overwhelmed, remind yourself of the context about how you're built more sensitively and be more kind to yourself, and your self worth will naturally grow. A little experiment actually that you should try to prove what I'm saying actually works is look around your environment and pick anything random, like a cup, a pair of socks, or a blanket, like anything, some just random object you have in your home. For 3 days, take on the task of taking care of this object. So, let's say a pair of socks, and say, I am going to, for the next 3 days, take care of these pair of socks, make sure that they feel safe and cared for and whatever that is. So you might like place them a little more nicely in your drawer or make sure they're clean or folded, whatever it is. I know this sounds silly, but I promise you, by the end of that 3 days, you will actually value those socks more. So what has happened? The inherent worth of those socks has increased simply because you cared for them more. So now flip that around and do that for your own self. The next time you start feeling overwhelmed or you want to be mean to yourself or like ask you, what is wrong with me? Why do I do this? Why am I always late? Or why do I mix this up a lot? Or whatever it is. Instead of that, take care of myself instead and say, oh, you have a lot on your plate. You could always be on time next time. Like, think about how you can make yourself feel safe. And not only will that be nicer to yourself, but the result will be increased inherent value and self-worth. So first try it with the socks or whatever it is you want to try, and then try it with yourself and see what happens. Part 2, how values build self-trust. If you've been struggling with self-worth as a deep feeler, like we were just talking about, most likely you've been people-pleasing your whole life to keep the peace because any level of relational distress, which is yet another sensory input, is extremely uncomfortable. So I know I've been doing it, but people-pleasing becomes a default because you're like, I do not want to make anyone mad at me. I don't want to create friction. I don't want to add noise. So you kind of just get quiet and start trying to see how to keep the peace, how to make others happy. But as you start restoring and rebuilding your self-worth, like we talked about in part 1, you're going to want to stop people pleasing and start pleasing yourself. And that's a really cool place to be. And it's exciting. What the next question becomes is, okay, I want to look to myself for my next step and my decisions, but what the hell is it that I care about? I don't even know. Like, that's how I felt when I started this journey. Because yes, I want to look to my own values and what matters to me, but I had become so disconnected from it because my whole life I've been looking to others' reactions and others' approval to decide how to make my decisions and live my life. In order to develop and rebuild your self trust, you need to know what it is you value. And that can be very mysterious for us, right? So if you don't know where to start, a few questions you can ask yourself. One, what has recently energized you? Two, what has recently moved you to tears? Three, when are you most proud of yourself, even if no one else noticed? It's really, really important and such a powerful tool to understand your values because self trust grows every time you make a choice that reflects your values, even if it's uncomfortable. And when you trust yourself and really build that self trust, that is when you create space for authentic confidence to ebb and flow. Confidence, despite what people have told you, despite all the feedback you got, just be more confident, etc. It's not a constant state thing. Confidence is based on outcomes, on how things turn out. And we don't have control over that. We could put all the effort, all the prep, it still might not turn out well. And if you base everything on how confident you feel, it's a really tough journey because confidence is a moving target. That's why it really drives me crazy when you get feedback like, just be more confident, because it really leaves someone with no real direction except this whole fake it till you make it thing. And that doesn't last. It's not real because confidence fluctuates. It really depends on how things turned out. So that's why the focus needs to shift from just be more confident to build self trust. Because when you trust yourself, even when you don't feel confident, you can be confident because you trust in yourself. So, part three, what's actually at stake if you keep waiting to feel confident to live your life fully? What you're actually doing is you're postponing your authentic life, your full expression of yourself. You keep telling yourself, I'll speak up when I feel more confident. I'll start the project or the hobby when I feel more confident. I'll set the boundary with this person when I feel more confident. You will be waiting forever, and self abandonment will become your default. You'll say yes when you mean no. You'll stay quiet when something really matters to you. You'll just shrink and lower your self worth to keep the peace. And that's just devastating to your own self worth. If you're a mom, there's another thing at stake that really moves and inspires me. It's that it's not just your self worth that's at stake. Every time you don't trust in yourself and you shrink, you're showing your kids that they should tolerate discomfort, that they should just watch how they speak and be afraid to shine too bright or stand up for what they believe in because they don't want to rock the boat. They should be people pleasing. That is an impact not on your own self worth, but also on your children's. And that is especially just devastating to me and has deeply inspired me to take action, to finally figure out this whole confidence, self worth, self trust cycle that I'm talking about. And here's the thing to remember: our kids don't need an always confident parent. It's not about being always confident or being more confident, like I've been saying. They need to see a parent that trusts themselves and values their own self worth and makes decisions that show that, even when it feels uncomfortable. They need to see us living in alignment with our values, trusting ourselves, because that shows them they can trust themselves and live in alignment and make choices with what matters to them, not everyone else. So I'm not trying to scare you, but there's just no calmer season coming. And your life is not going to suddenly be less demanding when your kids are older, like we all think, especially when we have young kids. They're going to have teenager needs and they're going to have young adult needs and all this stuff. Like, your job as a mom is never going to be over. So if we wait for that, nothing's going to shift. And there's no day that you're going to magically feel ready. It's just about taking it day by day, small aligned choices, small ways to do intentional self care. And I'm not talking about going to the spa or like massage, which is also very important, but I mean, taking care of your own needs and honoring them. So stop waiting for someday and know that it impacts your self worth, which is very precious. But if you're a mom, it also impacts your kids' self worth. And we do not want to pass on this cycle. We do not want to drip this trauma or self abandonment onto our kids. So to wrap this all up, Just know you're not going to wake up feeling ready one day, and you're never going to just be more confident by faking it till you make it or all those tips out there that people tell you, especially if you're a deep feeler. It's just not going to last. What you need to do is honor your self worth, understand your sensitivities and what you need to feel grounded in your body and nervous system, then get clear on your values, make choices based on them to build up your self trust. And when you have your self worth and your self trust locked in, your confidence will flow. It's not going to be something you push and fake. It's going to be unstoppable because you know that no matter the outcome of something, you acted in alignment with your values and you have inherent self worth no matter what. So remember, you're not too much. What matters to you matters. And there's no someday version of you coming to live your life for you. If this resonated, feel free to like or subscribe or even share it with someone that you think it might help. Let's stop waiting for someday together.